Hi, this is an interview for Edularity. Today we are with Dr. Brian Ray. I remember speaking with a Harvard University professor something around 6 years ago, and I was sharing with him that I was homeschooling and we were trying to define some other alternatives on education, and his response was, homeschooling is not scalable.
Interesting.
So I couldn't stop laughing because to me it was the easiest way to scale a different type of education. Because you just give information to the parents and they'll just take care of it. It's the easiest way to scale it.
It's very simple. And I think that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Thousands of years of human history, people home educated their children. Makes me think of this, Mariana. One time this is about at least 20 years ago, maybe 23, I was asked to be on a national TV talk show. It was kind of like one of those shows where they get you on with other people and try to get you to argue. So it was based in a TV studio in Portland, Oregon. National Network ran it, and they invited in the head of Oregon Public Schools, called the superintendent of public schools. They invited in a newspaper journalist who writes articles on education. They invited in a third man who was a very limited government advocate, low taxes advocate, and then they invited a fourth man, and he had a beard, and he did research on homeschooling. Okay, so they had us on these stools, 4 stools, and they were trying to get us to argue about education and home education, and forever I'll remember this. Near the end of the half-hour program, the lady who was the superintendent of public instruction, head of government schools in Oregon, stood up and she pointed her finger at the audience and she said, "You have to remember, public schools are what made America great." And I wish I was a quicker thinker, but here's what I realized as I was sitting there processing it, thinking later. First of all, just for a story, let's assume America is great. Okay, let's not argue on that right now. All right, but let's pretend America is great. What did she just say to all the people who went to school in America before public schools? Slap in the face. What did she just say to all the people who went to Roman Catholic private schools? Slap in the face. What did she say to all the people who went to Lutheran and Christian schools? Slap in the face. What did she say to all the inventors, the authors, the writers, the farmers, the factory workers before public schools?
The U.S. founders.
The U.S. Exactly. The U.S. founders. Philosophical men and women who came after that, who were never in public schools. If America was great, it was long before public schools were the norm. So it's really interesting. It's a scale. Moms and dads have always been educating their children. It does not mean they did it alone. They did it with family. They did it with church. They did it with community groups. And that's why I like, Mariana, to call modern homeschooling home-based education. I like to call it. My favorite term, it's too long, is parent-led home-based education. It's one of my favorite terms because it explains parents are leading, they're in charge, and it's based out of the home. It's not only at home.
Are you listening? Damn.